Imagine driving through one of the driest places on Earth, and suddenly, you see a giant hand rising from the desert floor. This is La Mano del Desierto, a 36-foot-tall hand sculpture in Chile's Atacama Desert. Built over 25 years ago by artist Mario Irarrázaval, this massive monument stands alone in the vast emptiness, making it one of the most surreal sights in the world. Just remember, if you ever visit, bring plenty of water and gas, because this desert is as unforgiving as it is breathtaking. Next, let's talk about a real-life miracle, or mystery. In 2014, a huge lake suddenly appeared in the middle of Tunisia's desert during an extreme drought. It is called a lac de Gafsa. This lake holds about 1 million cubic meters of water. At first, it looked crystal clear, but over time, it turned greenish, raising concerns about its safety. Scientists warned that the water might be toxic, possibly even radioactive. But the heat was so unbearable that locals jumped in anyway. How did this lake appear? Experts believe a seismic shift pushed underground water to the surface, but no one knows for sure. If you're afraid of heights, this next place might make your palms sweat. The Kotski Pillar Monastery is a small church built on top of a 130-foot, 40-meter, tall limestone rock. It's located about 125 miles west of Tbilisi, the capital of Georgia. This place isn't easy to reach since public transport doesn't go that far, so you'd need to travel by bus or car. To get to the monastery, you have to climb a thin iron ladder that's bolted to the side of the rock. The climb is pretty tough and can take about 20 minutes. For the monks who go there to pray, the climb is a way to reflect and feel closer to God. This monastery is also known as one of the world's most isolated and sacred churches. So, if you love God and aren't afraid of heights, this might be a thrilling place for you to visit. You'd expect a king of England to be buried in a grand tomb or a castle, right? Well, that wasn't the case for King Richard III. Surprisingly, his remains were found under a parking lot in Leicester. Imagine going from being a king to lying beneath parked cars. Scientists did some tests and found that the DNA from the bones matched his descendants. They also carbon dated the bones to be from 1455 to 1540, which fits perfectly since Richard III died in 1485 at the age of 32. Since this discovery was so important, the parking lot is now a protected historical site. However, the king's remains have been moved to a cathedral, which seems like a much more respectable place for a king. So, if you ever want to visit King Richard III's final resting place, you'll need to head to the cathedral instead. In a forest near a town in Bosnia, a huge mysterious stone sphere was discovered, and it's not just any rock, it's believed to be the oldest stone sphere made by humans. Pretty cool, right? The archaeologist who found it is a bit controversial in the scientific world because he has made some wrong claims in the past. After spotting just a part of the stone sticking out of the ground, he got some other archaeologists to help dig up the rest. However, some scientists aren't sure if the stone is really what he claims. They point out that similar stone spheres have been found in places as far away as Costa Rica. So, maybe we shouldn't believe everything about this discovery just yet. Still, the stone size and nearly perfect shape are super impressive. So, whether it's real or not, it's definitely an interesting find. The Buzluđa Monument is a huge, round building on Buzluđa Peak in the mountains of Bulgaria. It was built to remember an important moment in Soviet history. The peak is also known for a big battle between Bulgarians and Turks that happened in 1868. In 1891, a man named Dimitar Blagojev led a group of socialist thinkers to this peak to talk about the future of Soviet rule. To honor what happened there, the Soviet government decided to build a monument. The Bulgarian army started building it in 1974, with help from different artists and architects. However, when the Soviet Union fell in 1989, the building was abandoned and left empty. Although it's locked, there is still a way to get inside through an unlocked side door on the right side of the monument. Fort Boyard is a huge fort in the Atlantic Ocean near the coast of France. From a distance, it looks like a floating castle, but it's actually built on a sandbank. The fort was first planned in 1662 to protect the shores of Charente and the harbour of Rochefort from enemies. However, the project was quickly stopped because it was too expensive and difficult to build. For more than 150 years, the fort remained unfinished while wars between France and England continued nearby. In 1802, Napoleon realized the fort's strategic value and ordered its construction to continue. It was finally completed in 1858. The fort is oval-shaped, measuring about 330 feet by 160 feet. One day in Argentina, a man named José Antonio Nieves went for a walk near a river by a farm and saw something unexpected. He found a huge fossilized shell about 3 feet long. At first, Jose thought he had discovered a dinosaur egg and was a bit disappointed when he learned the truth. Scientists later explained that the shell actually belonged to a glyptodont, an ancient relative of the armadillo. They noticed a hole on top of the shell and initially thought it might be for the head to peek out. However, after looking more closely, they realized the hole was just caused by wear and tear over time. Even if it wasn't a dinosaur egg, finding such a rare and ancient shell just while out for a walk was still a pretty amazing discovery. The Little Alien is a small, family-owned hotel in the town of Rachel, Nevada, and it has a cool alien theme. This place is famous because it's really close to Area 51, a secretive military base known for all sorts of alien and UFO stories. The hotel's decor is full of alien-inspired stuff, making it feel a bit mysterious and fun. Even though it's been around for 25 years, it's still popular with visitors who are curious about aliens and the secrets of Area 51. So, if you ever visit the area and want to embrace the alien vibe, staying at the Little Alien might be a fun adventure. In Death Valley, which is known as the hottest, driest, and lowest place in North America, there are some very strange rocks called the Sailing Stones. These rocks are special because they seem to move on their own without any help from gravity or people. The weirdest part is that no one has ever seen them move in person. However, people can tell that they do move because the rocks leave trails behind them, and they're often found in different spots each time someone visits. Scientists believe that a mix of thin ice, water, and wind helps these rocks slide across the ground. Even though it sounds a bit mysterious, the most likely explanation is a natural mix of ice and wind that pushes the rocks. Still, it's a cool mystery that makes Death Valley even more interesting.